Good job.
Thank you, Johnny.
Welcome. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, and yeah. Wow. When you guys give me all your energy like that, what I want to do is give you all my energy. Is that okay?
Good job.
We're going to have a lot of fun, but most importantly, we're going to learn a lot of things. For those who are my members in the audience today, what you know about me is until I really get up here on stage, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I do it in the moment, and I do it in the moment of what's going on in the world, what's happening in the economy. And when I read the newspapers in the morning, I get some ideas. Now, one thing that I want to share is there's a teacher, and it's his first day with his new primary school students. So he's there, and to break the ice, he says to the students, he says, what I'd like you to do is tell me your name and let me know what your father does. So first of all, Blaine goes first, and he said, I'm Blaine, and my daddy is a postman. And then next goes Sally, and Sally says, my daddy is a mechanic. And then next comes, of course, little Johnny, and he goes through and finally come to Johnny. And then Johnny says, my name is Johnny, and my dad is a striptease artist at the local gay bar. So immediately, the teacher gasps and stops the exercise. And then later at recess, the teacher walks up to Johnny and says, is your daddy really a nude dancer at the local gay bar? And he said, no, I was just too embarrassed to say that he was the business development manager for Lehman Brothers. You better laugh. You better laugh now, because that's as good as it gets, okay? You know, it really would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. It really would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. For the next 90 minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you what I see going on in the world, what I see happening in the economy, based on what's going on in the world and the economy, what you should do within your own individual portfolios. What I do and what I analyze all the time is I look at market trends, what's happening. And yes, for years and years, my organization performed at the top 1 percentile of all funds. And what I want to do right now is just share some ideas with you. Because a lot of times, what I find with a lot of people is they live their lives within a 30-mile radius their entire life. Now in LA, I know you got to drive a little further, but generally, okay? And what happens in that 30-mile radius, that's where you go to work, your children go to school, it's where all your friends are, and for some of you in the room, that's where you have your vacation every year. And what happens is, for example, oil prices at the pumps in California, they go up to $4 a gallon. And what do? You blame a local politician. Because you are in a system of a lot of times lack of empowerment. The reason I have so much praise for everyone that's in the crowd here today is because what happens, you always see it, when the markets are badly beaten up, people stop investing. People stop, they lose hope. People stop going out to educational conferences. The time that you want to be educating and empowering yourself the most is at a time when things are the cheapest, when we are at a bottoming stage. Now, I'm going to share with you some ideas today of why I believe we're at a bottoming stage in the market and why this is just a glorious time to be starting if you're investing. Whether you're an absolute newbie in the room or you're an economist with your PhD, you will definitely learn as a result of what I'm going to talk about. So let me just start, because one of the things that I saw yesterday is I saw that oil prices have dropped well over 60% of their high just a year ago. So let me give you a little bit of what I think is going on, and then I'm going to relate it to what you can do within your own personal portfolio. So let's just give you just a quick overview of some fundamentals of some understanding of what's happening. The world's largest reservoir is called Gwar. Gwar produces 5 million barrels of oil per day. That's 7% of world production. That's massive. Now, what happened when Gwar was originally went into production in the 1950s, what they had to do was they had to inject 1 barrel of water to get out 3 barrels of oil. Because what happens is every reservoir requires pressure in order to extract oil. Then what happened is 20 years went by, they had to inject 3 barrels of water to get out 3 barrels of oil. Now it is estimated they are injecting 9 barrels of water to get out 3 barrels of oil. Now, for those who don't have a background in oil recovery, in geology, what that means is an extremely mature reservoir. Well, Michael, it should be obvious, shouldn't it? Isn't it the fact? Wouldn't we know how much oil there is in Saudi Arabia and how much oil reserves there are around the world? The short answer is no. And the reason no is because back in the 1970s, they introduced something called quotas. OPEC did. And what quotas are is based on the amount of oil that you have in your reserves. That's the amount of oil that you can sell into the world markets on a day-to-day basis. So overnight, what happened miraculously is many nations closed their books to any outside scrutiny, and they came back out within a few weeks and double reported the amount of oil that they had in their reserves. And that's the type of world we live in. Because no one truly knows how much oil there is in Gwar. Now, let me take a macro concept like this and relate it on a micro level. Because, Mike, why are you telling us this? How does that relate to me? Well, let me tell you, if, for example, we know that the theory is called peak oil, Hubbard's peak. We absolutely know that we are at peak supply in the world. Maximum oil supply for the world will be 95 million barrels of oil per day. That is maximum oil potential of the planet. By the year 2020, we will be at demand of 115 million barrels of oil per day. If you look at simple supply and demand fundamentals, what does that tell you about the trend of oil? Is it going up? The answer is yes. Is it going up? Yes, absolutely. So, how does that happen? Well, all of a sudden on a micro level, let's say that we have a situation where Saudi Arabia reports that we can only produce 4 million barrels of oil per day. I can tell you overnight the price of oil would skyrocket to $200 a barrel. The reason is the world would know that all the reporting that's come out of Saudi Arabia over the last several years has not been accurate and true. Would that mean to you? It would mean instantly you would see over $4 a gallon and higher gasoline prices. And the reason I tell you this type of thing is so you can prepare for the trends that will happen. You do not want to be in a situation of lack of empowerment. You want to be in a situation where you truly understand what's going on. My main job up here today is to give you information, so most importantly, you take action steps. Who agrees with that? Raise your hands. Okay?